Hello. All right, today we're going to talk about joint finances. There's several ways to do it. I just want to say, I'm going to give you what my wife and I does. I'm going to give you other options as well. And this was a trial and error situation. But what I want to say is we've been married for over 25 years now, or 23 years. And we've been together longer, so 25 years. But through that time, it was trial and error, right? We tried things that didn't work. We went back to the drawing board. So I'm gonna just give you the options. We talked about this a little bit in the comments. Um, and the one thing you want to build this on is trust, right? You want to be able to trust your partner. You want your partner to be able to trust you. And a lot of this has a lot of trust involved. So I'm going to start with the option. The first option is joint bank account. So this is where both partners deposit their income into a shared account and pay expenses from it. I have a hybrid approach, but if you use the joint bank account, it does simplify bill payment and promotes transparency. The cons can be it requires strong trust, right? We talked about this before. You have to be able to trust your partner. Did you go to Buffalo Wild Wings? Why the heck would you do that when we have to pay bills? You know. So here's option two: separate accounts and shared expenses. So this is option two is what I currently do. My wife and I have been doing for years now. How it works is we have an account where all of our money goes into, right? All of our income goes into that account for bill payment. And then we have our own separate accounts, right? So every time we get paid, every pay period, we have a certain amount of money that goes into our personal account, our personal checking account, and that's what we spend our personal money on. But all of our bill pay is done in a shared bank account, as well as shared savings for family events and vacations and those things. Emergency fund, all of that good stuff is shared accounts, right? And then we have our personal expenses, which we handle outside of our bill pay, which is done from our personal accounts, right? So things we want to buy, places we want to go, hanging out with friends. We kind of do that separately in our own personal accounts. But if we go out together, my wife and I, or let's say we go on a couple's date or something like that, we do have money that we save in our family account that pays for those things. So again, each person keeps their own account but contributes to the shared expenses via joint account. And the pros of this maintains individual finance independence, clear responsibility for shared costs. The cons can be requires tracking and communication to avoid imbalance. So every month, I do the bills for our family. Every month, I tell my wife where we are. She manages like the grocery budget, and I tell her, we over or under. So we do talk monthly about our expenses, and I also bring up financial situations to her about things that we need to do, things that we need to adjust, things we need to look out for, or we overspend or underspent every month. So I kind of manage that day to day. Then you have the proportional contribution. So if the trust is not there, listen up. Proportional contribution is each person contributes to shared expenses based on income percentages, right? Um, Let me just say, the pros to this is, of course, fair couples with different income levels. I make more than my wife, right? But I don't differentiate that. We kind of put everything together. We pay our bills and we pay ourselves first, right? But in this particular case, if you don't trust your partner or if you want equality, then you would go with this percentages proportional contribution by percentages. And let me just give you an example. So I wrote it here. I identified a scenario here. So partner A earns $6,000 a month, right? Partner B earns $4,000 a month. What that totals is $10,000 per month. Their monthly shared expenses are $3,000 a month. Okay, So the total income is 10,000. The total bills, shared expenses is 3,000. So how would you calculate that? First, you take the 6,000 and the 4,000. That's $10,000, right? All right. The total is 10,000. You take the 6,000 divided by the 10,000. You get 60%. You take 4,000, which is partner B's amount earned, and you divide that by 10,000. You get 40%. So partner A pays 60% of the bills. Partner B pays 40% of the bills. All right. So now let's look at the bills. So we said the bills were $3,000, right? So that means partner A, 3,000 times 60% is $1,800, 1,800. Partner B pays 3,000 times the 40%, which is $1,200. So every month, partner A contributes $1,800, which is a little more. Partner B contributes $1,200, and that's the way you provide equality and contributions based on amount of income that's being received per month. And that's fairly based on the income, right? You can do it 50-50. You could do it other ways that I talked about earlier, but that is the proportional contribution. And proportional contribution, I definitely learned from my mentor, Susie Orman. But my wife and I went with the joint expenses, saved separate accounts, separate personal accounts, but joint finances as our option. All right, I'm going to hit you with a Bible verse as I always do. This is Ecclesiastes 4:9. Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. All right, thank you for watching this video. Share it, comment. I'm going to comment as well if you comment out there, but share it and have a good day. Thank you.